My name is Oleksandr Volosyansky. I am a serviceman of the 68th Battalion. I am a junior lieutenant and I'm the commander of the drone system group. But I'm also a councillor of the Uzhhorod City Council. And being in the front line, I have to state that I'm fighting on two battlefields. We have one enemy, this is Russia, and we also have the old Ukraine, which is another enemy of ours. This is Ukraine against which we were in Maidan in Orange Revolution, during Orange Revolution and the Revolution of Dignity, and which is now on the third year is trying to revive. And lots of patriotic people, lots of honest young people are now fighting for the country, and the old corrupt people, first of all, kept the low profile, but they felt that war gave them more opportunities for illegal enrichment, because definitely lots of people now are fighting with the enemy and, well, cannot address many things. And these fans of the old Ukraine are sticking their heads out and are trying to destroy Ukraine from the inside. So as the deputy chosen, elected by people, I have to fight these corrupt people here in Uzhhorod. From informal communication, I know that among the authors of these corrupt schemes are those people who are afraid of the war veterans coming back from the battlefield. But that means that they have to manage even more for a shorter period of time. I'm talking about corrupt operations. How we can make these people to listen to the servicemen? We should ensure maximum publicity. And, for example, the military units are limited in terms of publicity, and therefore there should be interaction between civil society, volunteers, and military units in order to ensure public lobbying of certain matters. The requirements should be really very specific and concrete. The more specific they are, the less chances will be for public officials to cover up the topic. And according to the information I have, this publicity is something that local officials are very much angry about. But this is actually the only way for them to make them fund the army. But at least we need this result. Unfortunately, self-censorship and the conditions of the war is something that stops us in terms of criticizing the civil servants. But that means we have to find the effective balance of pressure. Actually, Uzhhorod has some advantages from the war. Lots of people came here. The budget of our city is growing, and all those resources and funds actually should have been used by the authorities in order to better fund the relevant military units. But we see the cases of embezzlement, we see some unnecessary repairs costing 80 million, some bags of sands bought for 11 million. Nobody is listening to the representatives of the military units, and their real needs are not addressed. And I, as the local deputy who is supposed to have direct communication with the local authorities, also cannot change anything, because these people are not afraid of anything, and they really pose a big threat for Ukraine. That's the why our society has hopelessness, have experienced disappointment and frustration, because people see that while the best people are dying on the battlefield, in the rear there are some corrupt schemes which are flourishing. This is the story about Uzhhorod, but actually it illustrates many similar stories happening all over Ukraine. Therefore, I, as a person who sees the situation from both sides, who knows what we are fighting for and what kind of price we pay in this awful war, would like to announce once again that the society should control the authorities, should exert pressure on the authorities, and should not allow this feast during the plague. Let's hope the war ends. Lots of people will come back. Lots of people are now painfully seeing what is happening at the local level, what is done by people in power. And now there are no elections coming, and therefore people feel absolutely immune. And there are lots of things how we can change Ukraine, how we can change the situation in the area, and how it can be done on the basis of integrity, honesty, and transparency.
And these people who are at the front line have a great capacity, and the society of Ukraine is now trusts in the armed forces of Ukraine, which means that if people survive, let's be frank, if they manage to survive after their return, these people will get into their hands a good capacity for changes. But for those people to win in the front line and then for Ukrainians to win in our cities, regions and villages, we really need to have mutual support of the whole civil society against those supporters of old Ukraine and corrupt people. Being a young student, I did believe that everything can be changed overnight. We will win at the Orange Revolution and Yushchenko will change everything, and then there will come optimistic times. Now I know that it's not Yushchenko who is supposed to change something or somebody else. We have to change, and this is a long-term process. I've been at war for 3 years. I know that war is a long process. We cannot postpone changes. We need to implement those changes already now, here and now, because otherwise a lot of us will not survive. We want to fight for the country in which we really trust, which is worth the sacrifice of its best sons and daughters. So let's create this country together, here and now, each of us in our place, somebody in the trenches, somebody here in the rear.